So earlier today, I was in a Q&A with a dietitian out of the UK who works a lot with people with disordered eating and eating disorders and that kind of thing. And there were some really good questions. One of them came up that had to do with kids. And, somebody said, how many calories should kids be eating and this kind of thing. And what she was saying was that, with kids, we don't want to focus on calorie intake as a focal point of their nutrition, just like we don't want to focus on scale weight with them and those kinds of things, or dieting and that kind of thing. It can really develop bad relationships with food in those young impressionable kids. And so what we want to do is focus on helping them learn how to make healthy choices, healthy decisions in their eating, as far as when they eat and how much they eat and what choices of foods that they make when they do eat. One of the other things, and this was kind of where I just wanted to share this, that was it was just a very simple but very good point that she made, was she said, our job as parents a lot of times is to just simply say no. That's the best way to control calorie intake for our kids. If we know that they really don't need to be eating and they're not hungry, we know that they've had enough to eat up to that point and they want to eat something, we can say no, and we should say no. Or if they say, hey, can I have this particular junk food, as a parent, we should say no, that this isn't a good time for you to have that, and maybe another time. But she was really making that strong point that as parents, that should be our job when we're dealing with our kids as far as their nutrition, is learning when to say no and making those choices for them as far as what they're going to eat and when they're going to be allowed to eat. Of course, as they get older, we hopefully have helped them as they've grown from being younger kids to older kids to make those decisions on their own and give them then, some more leeway as far as decision making on what foods they eat. But I just thought that was a really good point. As a parent, sometimes our job is to just simply tell our kids no, and to stick to that. So keep that in mind, if you're dealing with your kids as far as their eating. Of course, as parents, we have to be good examples of that too. So it doesn't help if we say, no, you shouldn't eat a candy bar before dinner, and then we go grab one and we eat one. So, it kind of goes both ways there. But just keep that in mind. I thought that was a really good point.